guys? It's your girl Shirley Dor and Cirocobama, aka Sade.
Oh, Sade.
Sade. I'm getting a little used to this, okay, you guys?
Smooth.
We're getting used to this. We're getting used to this. So you listened to our last episode. Hopefully there's no issues from it. But this is what we call our real episode. So it's your big sisters, your audio besties, your audio big sisters, back again for another episode. This one is a little invasive, just a tad bit, but it's fine because this is not that podcast. It's not that podcast.
Okay.
Like if you thought it was that podcast, it's
not that podcast.
Not that podcast. Today we're going to be talking about dating, right? Dating. So it's Relationship Wellness Month. For those who don't know, they don't talk about this because, this is supposed to be Relationship Supportive Month where we're talking about Valentine's Day, but it's Relationship Wellness Month, and it's a month where they highlight different relationships, but taking care of your mental health and your mental wellness. So I felt like there was no better way to celebrate Relationship Wellness Month than to talk about us being single AF. Single AF. We already talked about how it's RIP to CO and Cutter, right? So that's a relationship that we are ending.
That is gone.
It's ending.
It's
so
dead.
I wanted to get to know Sade a little bit, but you guys get to know Sade and see what's up with you. So what's new, sis? Update us. Give us the tea.
I'm single. Ain't nothing going on.
So we're both single.
But I don't want to be in these streets anymore. It is ghetto. And it was just as ghetto as I remembered it to be. And I want no parts.
So this is what singlehood is like for you.
Yeah, it's ghetto as hell.
Ghetto?
I don't want it.
Ghetto?
Yeah, I don't want it.
Wow. I have the complete opposite thought. Like,
actually, I'm gonna go back to like CO and Cut. I don't want to date. Marry me and we'll get to know each other later.
Wow, that's a throwback. Outside. You gotta go back to the episode. You gotta watch. See now you gotta go watch the episode.
Listen, marry me tomorrow. Marry me tomorrow. On our first date, we can go to the courthouse. I cannot do this nonsense again.
I feel like I had like phases in my singlehood journey where I was just like, I hate it here. And then it transitioned into me like, oh my gosh, this is nice. I don't really have to stress about anything, stress about anyone, think about anyone, just focus on myself. And I kind of like it here. I hate to say it, but it's nice being single over here.
How? I get like you don't have to stress about anybody. Like nobody's really bothering you. You can live your best life. And the niggas that are trying to talk to you, they usually try to spend money on you and stuff like that. But still, I feel like it still comes with like a lot of bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know. I would prefer to have to deal with my own personal stuff than to have to put up with someone else's.
I don't want to deal with it at all. Like I told you earlier, I said I think I want to be asexual. So it's either asexual or marry me tomorrow. I don't want the in between.
Okay, but let's talk about the marry me tomorrow. I think I now feel for Sade about the marry me tomorrow. I think I've said this to like my closest friends, and I put it on Twitter. I think y'all be doing too much of this whole dating process.
Yeah.
I feel like it's relationship, then marry. Like, you're like, oh, dating is still relationships. Like, you're still in a relationship. And then you go to fiance. Well, how do you not know you want to marry me when you asked me to marry you?
Yeah.
Why do you have to spend a year trying to figure out if you want to marry me?
Well, I think those are the broke people. Like, there's no reason for you to not. I guess they just want to do the little big wedding thing.
Oh, so you have to save the money and well, why didn't you like have the money when you proposed?
I mean, that's the other thing. Like, you should know if you gonna really get married. If buddy don't got no money, how you gonna get married? You feel me?
What's the point of being engaged if
he can't get you can't get married? Like it's you literally wasting your time. And I think women are delusional. I'm waiting for him to propose. But buddy has a part-time job and he's making minimum wage. He's not going to propose. And if he proposes, you guys are going to the courthouse.
Yeah.
And if that's okay with you, that's okay with you.
Right.
But not me.
I just think
this ain't that.
if you decide to come into If you decide to be my man, you need to know what your end goal is literally the moment you decide to talk to me. If you step in front of my face,
you need to be prepared to
propose
to me tomorrow
and
have the wedding next week, because I need about 5 days to get my bachelorette party set up. That's it.
Right. So something that I noticed that people never talk about when they talk about their singlehood journey is sexual responsibility while dating.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured we'd talk about it, just like tell people what sexual responsibility is and what that looks like for us. I personally take huge sexual responsibility. I get it. Like, a lot of people tell me, there's a caveat. You're a therapist. Cap. Because you can take sexual responsibility too. But I recently started dating. I hate saying it because my friends are like, you're dating. And I'm like, I don't care about these guys. Like, who cares about them? I'm just having fun.
I don't even know what dating means. Like you taking me out on dates, so we're dating. It's kind of like when talking. Like, somebody send me a winky face now. Hey, I used to talk. I
Facebook poke.
You feel me? You feel me? What is dating? Now y'all playing with me.
Right. Right.
Now y'all playing with me. I don't think.
To me, I think I'm just going out with people, enjoying the experience, walking out with no expectations. But in the process of not having expectations, I know who I am, very hypersexual. So I like to take responsibility just in case I want to take the going out a little further. I decide to make sure that I'm responsible, like having the conversation about what happens if we get an STI, what happens if there's pregnancy. Like, all of these things happen, but no one talks about it for some reason. They just wait until the day they get caught up, and then they want to talk about it.
I don't think, I would hope that people are getting tested. Because I don't know, the people that I've been sleeping with, they have no problem going to get tested when I ask them to get tested. Right. I do know, like, the frequency, you're supposed to get tested every 3 months or whatever. Right, yeah. But usually when I have a new partner, I'm going to get tested before I have sex with the new partner.
Yeah. So a lot of you guys, if you follow me, you know, like, I stress the importance of, like, your first date being a testing date. Not a requirement, but it does make life a little easier before you transition into, like, really romantic sexual
So you
stuff.
ask them on, like, the date?
On the first, well, not even the first date. Like, if I get a text message, it's like, hey, like, I'd love to take you out on a date. And if I think I'm, like, curious to be sexually involved with them, I say, hey, let's get tested.
Oh, nah. I wouldn't ask for it on the date, because I don't want to give people the wrong impression. I don't want to be like, hey, get tested and we're definitely fucking type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think usually what would happen is, like, if I do go on a date, most likely I wouldn't be, like, all hot and heavy on the first date or whatever. But after a while or whatever, once we get comfortable, we start chilling, and then now we start making out, things are about to happen. That's when I'm like, hey, I know what you want to do right now. I would like for you to go get tested.
Wow. So this actually recently happened to me. I met this person who, I don't know what their intentions were. So I never mentioned anything about sex because I wasn't thinking about having sex with them. And then they started to get very, like, sexual on the phone, and we were just talking. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I think he wants to get down. I think he wants to have sex with me. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, hey, you know, just in case you wanted to have sex with me, just want you to know that I won't do anything unless you get tested. Mm-hmm. And they said to me, oh, you know, it's been a year since I've had sex. And I was like,
what that mean?
What I got to do with me?
What that mean?
I was like, that's great. Doesn't mean that you can't get tested. And they respected it. They went, they looked it up. They asked me a whole bunch of questions about, like, the different types of STDs. I really respected this conversation. It was a really mature conversation. Mm-hmm. And after we determined where they were going to go to get tested and, like, where the options were in the state, mm-hmm. they then said to me that they never had anybody ask them this ever in the entire years of them having sex. I was like, you mean to tell me no one has asked you to get tested? They're like, no one. So there's always this conversation online where women are like, men don't want to get tested. They don't want to. I can't.
I also think y'all niggas is dirty, because listen, there's times where they don't get tested, but because their girl got tested, they feel like they scot-free. If the girl got tested, then if she ain't got nothing, I ain't got nothing. We just had sex, so we good.
Right.
I had an ex like that. Like, I literally, like, when I do my, well, that's because I didn't trust his ass, so I was getting tested.
What?
Because usually I'm not a having sex with multiple people type of person.
Very seclusive.
So, not to say that I haven't done it, but I definitely got tested afterwards. But I had he's never tried to get tested. Like, we got tested before, you know, the relationship, but then afterwards, like when I went to go see my OBG or something like that, he was I got tested and he was like, oh yes, we're clean.
Right. So that's actually something that's very common, just like statistically everywhere. There is a huge issue with getting heterosexual men tested. They assume that if the woman takes sexual responsibility for herself, that they too are in the clear.
But did he check the other woman?
Right! But what they forget is that if they're having sex with multiple people, just because one person doesn't get anything doesn't mean another person have it. And there's STIs that are like asymptomatic, like you don't have any symptoms that show up.
And there's also, you could have it and she don't have it, and then you could give it to her, because not every time you have sex will you
show.
Catch.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you may still have something and you think you're clean and she doesn't have anything. Now you give her something and then now niggas don't know where it came from.
Right.
But it came from you.
Let me tell you.
Your dirty ass ain't want to go get tested.
Let me tell you, it's very awkward to do the, hey, someone I know has STI conversation. It's happened to me before. It's very uncomfortable, like hearing from, because that person said that they got an STI, so they had to tell him, and then he had to tell me, and then I had to tell everyone that listen, this rabbit hole of going back and forth with every single person that you've had sex with and having to go through each line has to know. It's very awkward. Avoid the awkward conversation and just get tested. Just get tested.
I feel like everybody should get tested. At least if you're not having sex with multiple people, at least get tested during or like before you guys start having sex, and definitely after you have sex.
Right.
And then maybe a couple of times, but I don't know how long you guys end up being. And then on top of that, you can't make sure that niggas is faithful and just having sex with you. So like, you still have to have that in the back of your mind.
That's another discussion. Getting tested
to make sure that you get tested.
In a relationship. Yeah.
And some of y'all know. You know your boyfriend is a piece of shit. You know he's out here. You know it. Right. Don't act like, oh, my husband is everything. Because your husband's in my DM.
Something Sade mentioned earlier, where you were like, you've made the decision to have sex with someone without us testing. So I don't want anyone to feel like, oh my gosh, you're being judged for deciding to have sex without being tested. Shit happens. It happens. You get caught up in the moment. You really enjoy the experience, and then you have sex and you forget that piece of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And that's where the follow-up is even more important. So there's taking sexual responsibility before sex, and there's taking sexual responsibility after sex. And that's still getting tested as soon as you have that sex with someone. So you're not in the background for not deciding to do it before. You always have a chance to like get the opportunity to get tested after the fact.
And also, it does take 3 months usually for them to be able to detect something. Mm-hmm. So make sure if you do get tested after you have had sex or before you guys started having sex, it does take about 3 months for for a majority of the STDs to show. So make sure you get tested again. Yeah. And I know a lot of things that deter people is probably the pricing, because it is really expensive. But I recently got tested completely for free. I walked in there, I signed in and everything, and I was able to find the place on Talk Test Treat. I heard of this website from Shirley, actually. I've seen her do a couple of events with them. So I knew that they did testing, and I have insurance. So everything that I do at a lab is gonna cost me money.
Right.
So I couldn't do it when I went to my OBG. I tried to go to Quest Lab. All those places was gonna charge me like $240 for an STI panel. So I was like, you know what? Let me try Talk Test Treat. Maybe they have something that will work for me, because people think that because I pay money for my insurance every month, I got extra money
to be paying for the testing.
I literally everything that's cheap, everything that's $0, that's what I'm going with my insurance. There's no reason for me, I feel like, to pay extra, and $250 is crazy.
Right.
So Talk Test Treat.
Yeah.
I went on the website, and it gave me like a list of places that either charge or do STD testing for free. And so when I went, I was able to find a place that was free of charge. I called them. They said, hey, yeah, we're open and we're taking testing from 4 o'clock. If you want to come, we have a list. So I came, I signed in. It took me about an hour wait. I just went to eat downtown. I came back, literally blood work, pee, gone.
Florida has a large amount of STI testing, specifically focusing on HIV. They put a great deal of work into providing these services for free. All you gotta do is be willing to search it up, find a testing location, and just going straight there.
Same day.
Same day?
I was able to
same day results. Same day results.
Not results. I was able to get tested the same day. So I didn't have to do an appointment. I literally walked in and I was able to get tested the same day.
So for me, my testing center, our testing center is like downtown. So the testing center that I go to, they provide HIV same day results, but all the other panels, the STD panels, have to be 3 to 5 business days. So if you're in a rush, you gotta wait a little bit for the STD, STI panels. So it's Black History Month, and not only are we celebrating Relationship Wellness Month, we're celebrating Black History Month, and on February 7th, we celebrate National Black HIV Awareness Day. So that kind of like ties back into everything.
They said if you're mixed, you only have 14 days to celebrate.
I also heard that if you don't have 8 grandparents who are Black, your Blackness is questionable. So mixed, and all 8 of your grandparents need to
all
be 8. All 8. So we're 8 greats need to be Black for you to be blickety black.
Ooh,
right.
Damn. So how many days I got?
I don't know. My great 3. We got a couple white people. So
great. Okay, yeah. Maybe. Okay, I might have 8.
Yeah.
I gotta think about
blickety black. Blickety black.
My mom's dad is from Spain. But I never claimed that.
If they're white, I don't know anything about them because that means. But back to what we were saying.
I'm trying to figure out how many days I gotta calculate it to how many days I can celebrate.
About 15 days.
What? No, mixed people would be 15 days. So I mean, I gotta be maybe 80%, 90%. So 26 days.
Black History Month got us questioning our Blackness. This is sickening.
If you're a Black girl, 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 if you're a Black girl. Okay.
But as we were saying, it's Black History Month on top of it being Relationship Wellness Month. And if you combine the two, we have National Black HIV Awareness Day, which happens every February 7th. So every February 7th, we celebrate the progress that has been made in taking care of Black individuals who either have HIV or preventative measures for those who have Black HIV or for those who have HIV. We're so excited to have Talk Test Treat partner with us for this episode so that we can kind of like provide you guys resources and things that you can kind of find within the community, your community, even within the Central Florida community, to help you join the progress that has been made so far with reducing the number of cases within the Black community. So I felt like it was a great time to have the sex talk. So tell me about your sex talk.
My sex talk?
Your sex talk. What did you have one?
Oh, you mean like growing up? Ooh, sex talk growing up. No, I was just called a whore several times.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much
That was a sex talk, yeah.
Yeah.
It's real.
No, but also my mom is bipolar, so half the time she would be like, if you guys are having sex, let me know. I'll provide you guys condoms. Don't be afraid. I don't want any kids around here. Don't be worried. Don't be afraid. And then the next day, I know you're having sex in people's backyards. I know you're fucking this person. I know you're having sex. Da da da. Whore, this, woo-zang, blah blah. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty much my sex talk. I mean, unless you count like sex ed in school.
Sex ed, yeah. So it's funny because you mentioned how like your mom talked about not getting pregnant. That is all the sex talk that we get. It's not about prevention, like not getting STDs and STIs and not getting HIV. It's about avoiding pregnancy, and that's the only importance of having sex. It's like if you have sex, you get pregnant and die. That's the only thing. So my sex talk was similar. My sex talk was similar. It was legit. Don't get pregnant. You're a woman now. First of all, I'm still 11. There's no way I'm a woman. I am not even a teenager. I just so happen to have my period earlier than expected. But
you're an adult.
You're an adult. So once I got my period, I was an adult. And that was the sex talk. The sex talk
was, you're not an adult in my house.
Right. My sex talk was, you're an adult. And you're going to start making adult decisions, but you're not an adult. So don't make those decisions and don't come back pregnant. Okay, well, let's first talk about how do I get pregnant?
And look at you now.
Right.
Now you want grandkids. Look at this.
Right.
Look at this. I could have had grandkids back then, but you told me not to have any kids. And now here I am, as scared as hell at 30 years old about having kids. I'm like, oh no, I can't get pregnant. I'm scared.
Right.
I can't do this.
Still fearful of pregnancy.
Huh?
But I think it's important to like acknowledge, like, I'm always about grace giving parents grace. They don't know any better. They think they do. But in reality, they don't. They don't have access to things. And if they do, they don't seek the information because they're stuck in their ways. So that makes me think of how I never heard anything about STIs. Did they tell you anything about STIs? Like you have sex and then you get a blue waffle? Nothing.
No, the school was saying blue waffle, and so I had to Google it.
Yeah, I tried to avoid it.
Not only that, there's a couple of funny things about sex in middle school. So I remember, and I was telling, this the other day. I said, I remember one time I had a friend, and he said something about a clique.
Okay.
I said, what the fuck is a clique? And he's like, you're a woman, you have a clique, and you don't even know?
Oh, yeah, they did call them cliques. Yeah.
You call them cliques?
They call them cliques.
See? What you call them?
Cliques. They call them cliques. They call them cliques.
What you call it? People be asking me like, yo, what school did you go to?
No,
I've never heard it. They were calling them cliques.
I definitely did not say cliques. I said clique.
Clique?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They told me clique.
Yeah.
And then I think I didn't even know, my grandma doesn't speak English and my mom's English is pretty decent, but I didn't learn the word for AIDS until maybe college. Right? SIDA.
Just SIDA.
Yeah, but I didn't know that until college. They've never brought up STDs or STIs.
I don't think I ever heard my family ever talk. They talk about sex, talk about pregnancy, never anything else that comes along with sex. So for the people who are watching this on YouTube, and if you are,
have
of
a
course, if you have a click, no. If you're watching this on YouTube, did you have a sex talk? And if you did they tell you about HIV, STDs, STIs, anything like that? Comment it below and let us know if they told you anything about this. So you mentioned
also comment if they were calling it click because
we really need to figure this out.
Yeah, because
be
I told the story before and people are laughing at me like I've never heard nobody call it a click. And I've definitely heard people call it a click.
Yeah. Yeah. So comment below if you've heard.
Yeah. Don't have me out here looking stupid. And especially if you went to John F. Kennedy Middle School.
So you learned about the word SIDA.
Mm.
Did you learn about HIV? Did you know what it was when they told you about SIDA?
No. I heard the word. I heard the word in college, and then I found out the word was AIDS. But it wasn't from my parents or family or nothing like that. It was just like people in college.
People just randomly saying it. Yeah. I don't remember when. I always heard the word SIDA when I was younger because there was this like notable Haitian figure in South Florida who got SIDA and she died from it. But after that was it. It was just always like, oh, SIDA. And then there was nothing else to talk about. Like, what is it? Where do you get it from? How did you get it? It was just there.
I've never heard it. Which is funny. My mom also has one of these clinics that do STD testing as well. So I'm a little confused. Like you didn't tell nobody.
Right. But you know so much.
But now it's passionate. Like it's your passion. You want to make sure, the community knows and they have resources and things of that nature, which,
Right. So education, right? So that's what makes people become passionate about it. So now that you're older, you heard of SIDA, you've worked along clients that have, or patients that have come to the clinic and stuff like that. What do you now know about HIV?
I think the biggest thing is that now there is a daily medication that you can take that would make you undetectable. If you are undetectable, you have a the lowest risk of transferring it to somebody. So if you do have like a partner that has HIV, it is possible for you to not have it and for you to still be sexual with that person with the HIV PrEP. So I learned that growing up, we learned that HIV and AIDS is not the same thing.
Right, that's true. That's true. It didn't take until me getting into the sexual wellness industry that I knew they were two different things. Yeah.
Let's see. We're spitting out fun facts.
PEP. So I learned about there being in I don't know how to pronounce the actual the actual legal name of it, but I know that there are post medication that you can take if you are exposed that will reduce the odds of you being infected with HIV. So if you get exposed to HIV, you would take PEP, which is a medication that you can take to kind of reduce your odds of having an HIV infection. And that is also available to you possibly for free. And if not free, there are reduced low cost options if you visit the talkteststreet.com to explore what options you have for both.
I didn't know. I never knew the difference between PEP and PrEP. I knew we offered both at the clinic. I did know PrEP. We were offering PrEP, but we also had PEP. But maybe because the doctor knew that these people haven't been exposed to HIV, maybe that's why he didn't offer PEP as much.
Right. Well, so PrEP is to prevent you from getting HIV infection. So that's something that you take daily. Yeah. So that you don't get infected. Now let's just say you got exposed, you would take PEP, which is the post, after you are exposed. That's when you would add in the PEP, which would reduce your odds of actually being infected. So for people who don't take PrEP is your your last resort. Like, I get, I have sex, I'm exposed. Oh my gosh, let me within the next 72 hours, let me figure out what I need to do. You take PrEP.
Okay.
Versus PrEP is already the preventative measure. You're already doing what you need to do to make sure that you don't get infected at all. Even if you were exposed, you have PrEP because it has a 99% efficacy rate of making sure that you don't get an HIV infection.
Okay. So that's good to know in case you do have, because, I know a lot of people, we're getting tested, and then there's this, I guess, negative stigma on people having STDs. And there's some STDs that are uncurable and things just happen,
Right.
It's not your fault. It's not because you're dirty. It's not because you did anything wrong. Sometimes people just don't let you know. Sometimes people don't know because they don't get tested and they spread things. So, it's good to know that there are some alternatives out there, and you can still be in a relationship if you end up having a partner and your partner tells you, hey, I have HIV or something like that. There are still ways for you to be able to connect sexually without being too at risk,
Right. So not putting yourself at risk, but also your partner at risk because you're doing the things that are necessary. So that kind of brings me into what is it like in this world today? What's happening today? And why is it so important for us to stress the importance of getting tested? So in 2019, they looked at all of the HIV statistics and they looked at it by race. And they found that, so I gotta pull this out to let y'all know, there was an estimated of over 34,800 people with new HIV infections. And 40% of those cases were among Black people. So Black people pretty much make up majority of the new HIV cases that were detected in 2019. So knowing that is kind of disturbing. How do you feel learning that?
Anytime is whenever I hear statistics, right? And then so they're like, oh, we surveyed 1 million people, whatever, in the United States. And then they say, the Black people are the largest of the statistic. That's crazy because we're not the majority. We're not the majority.
We only make up 13% of the United States. Yet 40% Black people.
That's alarming.
Yeah. To make such a minority in such a large population and make up majority of the STIs, well, HIV specifically, is wow, how does that even happen with us being so small of a group of people?
Yeah, because I would also like to know how are the Caucasians not doing it, and this is a sponsored episode. That's something. I had something to say.
We're gonna go for the Patreon. Our unsolicited, raw, uncut thoughts will be on our Patreon.
But it's really alarming. How do we not know? And I'm trying to. You know what?
So the thing is that in public health in general, things disproportionately impact Black people. And that's why it doesn't make sense.
Which is a part of white supremacy. But okay.
It's white supremacy. You're going to hear that often in our podcast where we kind of make sure we bring everything back to white people thinking that they are the supreme.
Mm-hmm. And they have oppressed marginalized communities. And I feel like that's where a lot of our issues come as a community, is just because we have systematically been put there. And it's not just systematically put there. Our mentality is also systematically put there. So I feel like we're in kind of a revolution where we're trying to step out of that. But that number is not just us. It's the previous generation. So I would like to know what generation of, because I feel like we're doing better now.
Right, which is what National Black HIV Awareness Day is that there's a celebration of how much that number has reduced. Although there wasn't much research, while there was research, there wasn't as an in-depth research on how this impacted Black people previous to But now we can say that there's a huge drop. We can say year by year, we're seeing the health department put in so much effort to making sure that Black people are aware. 1, they're educated. 2, they have options. 3, and then access, which is one of the biggest issues that we face in health in general. We need access, and access doesn't mean always making things expensive. It could be affordable, low cost, and also even free if willing to put those numbers. But the Department of Health has put those numbers, those funding, to make sure that we are getting the access that we need to HIV education, testing, treatment, and all of the things that we need to make sure that that number continues to reduce so that it can line up with, us being the minority in this country.
And I appreciate Talk, Test, Treat because they basically make all the information available and ready to us for the Orlando area. I don't know if there's some for other places. If you guys want to comment any other places that you know from wherever you're from, because, not just people from Florida are listening to this, but another good resource is to look for places that accept the Ryan White grant. And the Ryan White grant specifically is was to combat the HIV pandemic. So not pandemic, epidemic.
Yeah. So when we think about the Ryan White services, we're looking to Ryan White services that specifically focus on making sure that there's an end to the HIV epidemic.
Yes, and so for the most part, whenever you find a Ryan White recipient service area, you might be able to get free STD testing as well.
Yeah. So you can find that on talktesttreat.com. If you look up, there's a whole bunch of resources on the site, like whatever you need as far as your sexual wellness and your sexual health. Granted, Talk Test Treat has it. So you visit talktesttreat.com, you go through their list of resources. If you need Ryan White services, if you need STI testing, if you need HIV testing, just go on their website, do a search, and they'll pinpoint you to what they can find locally within Central Florida and overall throughout Florida as well. I know that we have a huge audience, so it doesn't just, it's not only Florida, but because we are a state that has a high amount of HIV cases, there's this huge push for making sure that they reduce the number of HIV cases by 2025. So if you are in another state that doesn't really prioritize HIV STI testing, don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to go through the Department of Health site. Don't be afraid to look out. There are so many options, whether it's within state or out of state. I think we're going to have a couple more episodes where we talk about where you can find these resources if you're not based in Florida. But you can find those resources in other spaces as long as you just do the research. The same way you look up that all white outfit, all black outfit, all red outfit for brunch, lunch, dinner, birthday, whatever, your sexual wellness, pretty sure the information is out there just as much as everything else.
Yeah, and I hope everybody is going to get, I feel like you should, when you also go to the doctor and stuff like that, whenever you make your appointments, make an appointment day and you might as well just go ahead and get tested. I literally went to the OBG and I was trying to get tested over there, but when they told me $250, I told them they could do something with that. And so I went on Talk Test Treat and I was able to get tested the same day. And I left the OBG around noon. I was able to get to the Talk Test Treat, the center that I found the address for, at 3. I was out of there by like 4:30.
Yeah. So that kind of like shows you like a message of like resilience, right? Like don't be discouraged by the expense that you may see at your OBGYN or your primary care provider. Hopefully with your insurance, if you do have insurance, going to your primary care provider, it should be preventative medicine. And if it's not preventative medicine, obviously options like Talk Test Treat will be a great place for you.
That was the argument I had with my insurance. Yeah. Because they were telling me that it's not preventative. They were telling me it's like a laboratory service. And I felt like as a 30-year-old sexually active woman, it should be preventative.
Yeah, it's preventative with your PCP, not with your gyne, not with your specialist. So if you go to a specialist, this is me knowing too much about insurance and hating their guts. If you go to a specialist, most of your lab tests with a specialist are going to be expensive because your specialist is expensive. But if you go to a primary care physician or a clinic or anything that's just like a main person, not your family doctor or whatever, they have preventative services that they can provide from like $0 to $60. So you want to go to your, for things like testing, go to your primary care physician because they can put it in as preventative care services. Your gynecologist, your urologist, like whoever you're going to outside of that who's doing STI testing, it's not preventative services, it's a lab test.
That's stupid.
That's fishy.
Is this camera on me? That's stupid.
Is this camera on? I love that trend. Is this camera on? That's stupid.
Yeah, because I was so confused. I'm like, y'all, I'm sexually active and I need a test. You're literally you're already in there. Might as well, get the rest done.
Might as well finish it up. Finish the job.
They don't want to finish the job. They were telling me $250, and I was like, that's not happening. Right. That's not happening.
So that brings me to our questions and confessions. Okay. So we have a couple questions and we got a couple confessions from the listeners. So let's check out what the listeners got to say. I believe you had a question.
Yes. I asked, what would you guys want us to talk about? And I had a very interesting one, and I tried to answer it, but then I thought that it was very heavy. So a listener question was, do we enjoy being single, or do we prefer to be in a relationship?
Listen, I am a certified lover girl through and through. Love keeps me going. But I just, it's hard because I would prefer to not have the heartbreak that comes with relationships, the arguments. Like, I just don't like the bad times. So I really like the good times. But that's not what relationships are about. Like, it's not just the good times, the bad times they matter just as much as the good times, and they kind of like prove a sense of resilience in your relationship. So I think I'm gonna actually go with relationships. I like being partnered. I like being coupled. I like doing couple shit. While singlehood has been very freeing and relaxing, and like I don't really have to focus on too much, I just love love. I love love. I love being loved. I like that feeling. I like it being my one person. I like just like randomly waking up and just being like to my one person. I want to do this. I want to do that. When you're single, I gotta go through my phone and be like, what am I
doing today?
Hold on. Okay, let me text him and see if he responds to the call and the message. And sometimes they don't answer. Your love can't do that. Your love just answers.
I felt like that was very loaded, and it's funny because I tried to, it was an Instagram question, so I tried to answer it, and I really couldn't because I'm recently single, so I'm kind of like transitioning back into that mindset. So right now, I would prefer to still be in a relationship. Like, I don't want to be outside. Like, my mind is right now, I want to spend all day with you. I want to hold hands. I want to go places. I want to eat. I want to, like, you know what I mean? Do all types of cute shit or whatever. And I'm quickly reminded, bitch, we're not together. We're quickly reminded, I'm quickly shut down and quickly reminded that, hey, you're back in the streets.
In the streets.
Okay?
You can't expect these things from the streets.
You know what I mean? So I'm like trying to transition back to being a nigga. And so, but I do remember that I am happy being single. Like I feel like I'm happy being single because I'm just happy with myself in general. Like it's not like I need somebody. I'm always gonna enjoy my own time. I have no problems being by myself. I have no problems just chilling.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, when you're in a relationship, I feel like maintaining your friendships is crucial, because if it doesn't work out, you still have like that support system. But imagine if I decided to pour everything into my relationship and I didn't have anybody, like that would be devastating, and I'd probably try to jump into another relationship very, very quickly.
Right. I definitely have whatever I need in my friendships.
Yeah.
As far as like relationships. So like that the need where I'm like, oh, who do I call for this? The only thing that I don't got is the sexual. So and the sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta scroll through the phone and try to figure out who's gonna answer the call.
Pretty much.
But I can see why singlehood is like, I can see the debate. I can see the hard, like, certified lover girl, but also I like the independence that comes with singlehood.
I like being by myself. Like, not that I like being by myself, but I'm okay being by myself. Like, I literally, my mindset, and I say this all the time, like, I could be Oprah or Tracee Ellis Ross. You feel me? Like,
either or.
They are not married. They don't have any kids, but they're living their best lives. And Oprah got a random nigga living in the backyard. And so I may have a nigga living in my backyard when I'm older. You feel me?
Hey, yo. Nah, that's the life though. Just having somebody.
You feel me? Like that. I've come to terms with that is a possibility. But I'm not gonna lie. Every time I get into a relationship, I get closer to what I want. Like you're saying, like I like being happy. Like I love the being happy and all this stuff, but I don't like the heartache and the cheating.
None of that.
Yeah, but to be honest, I haven't dealt with a lot of the things that you guys deal with. I don't deal with.
Right.
I haven't dealt with cheating. I haven't dealt with niggas playing 2K too much. They want to see their homeboys all the time, and they don't want to be home. Like the issues that I be having are not the same issues y'all be having.
Yeah. Cause
I'm immediately out the door. So I feel like I keep getting closer to what I want.
Okay.
And so it makes it. And last time I wasn't even expecting it.
Right.
So the fact that I got so close when I wasn't expecting it, it gives me hope that maybe I will find somebody.
Mm.
And that's scary because I don't want to have hope that I may be in the last relationship of my life.
Mm.
Because then I'm like, I just want to be okay with being Tracee Ellis Ross or Oprah.
Right. So I feel like I am okay. No, I enjoy being single. That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Do I enjoy being single? Yes. If I had a preference, I don't think my preference is being in a relationship right now because I just don't think that I have the emotional capacity to be there. I don't think I want to be all lovey-dovey with somebody. I have spent most of my young adult life really focused on relationships, and I think it's important for me to just not focus on relationships. So I like right now the Shirley today. Like I told my friends, I'm in my lowercase italicized girl era, and in my lowercase italicized girl era, I prefer singlehood. But if you ask uppercase, bold, font size 72 Shirley, yeah. Give me the man. Give me the man. Baby, come here. Love me, hug me, kiss me, squeeze me.
I think for me to answer the question, you gonna have to give me a minute, because right now the answer would be relationship, because I'm still transitioning back to being niggas.
I love how she's saying transition. She's still healing. We can use that word.
Is it healing?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't feel like hurt or like remorse or like I want to go back there type. Yeah, well, I am disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
But is disappointment a thing that's going to go away?
You can heal from your expectations and your expectations not being met. finding new ways to communicate your expectations.
I don't think you said that loud enough for the mic.
I don't think I can say it again. You can definitely heal from your expectations and explore new expectations while you're doing that. Like, I feel like you were disappointed. Disappointment comes, you get frustrated, you think about what makes you disappointed, which is your expectations. Your expectations weren't met. And so now you need to heal from your expectations not being met and either explore new ones or find someone who meets your current expectations.
Okay. I still need to hit up my therapist, because therapy only works when you pay for it. So
Yes.
I have yet to, like, that's literally what I'm gonna do with my check next month. Like next week, the first thing I'm gonna do is hit up my therapist.
Yeah.
She got a lot to catch up on.
Right. Yeah. So we're the ones that have been to therapy. You know, we both of us hate when people who don't go to therapy
Tell us to go to therapy.
They have no intentions of doing anything.
Never been to therapy. You think it's Frasier.
Or they went to therapy once and then they didn't like it and then like they never went back and then they're like gung-ho about being the people who know a lot about therapy. Yeah, we're not one of those people.
Yeah.
So if I can say that a part of my healing journey, I healed from my disappointment. I definitely healed from what my expectations were. I was very unrealistic. I will say that. Unrealistic for the person that I was with. And I'm at the phase, and I was just like her. Like I was not hurt. My feelings were not hurt. I really didn't care. But I do know that I had a lot of expectations that weren't clear, defined, or if they were clear and defined, they were unrealistic for the person I was with. And I had to do a lot of soul searching to really figure out who I want. I actually learned that there's a specific person that I want to be with in the healing journey of my stigma.
I don't I don't think my situation is like that, because I don't feel like my expectations were unrealistic for the person that I was with. And I also I am disappointed, but I did make these expectations clear from jump. And to see like me just not being heard, just not being taken with, like, dealt with care, like, I just feel like that was fucked up. And that's probably the disappointment.
Right. So we need to make this a whole episode. It's gonna be a 1-0. We're gonna have Sade in a seat with Shirley.
Ugh.
So Shirley
is gonna
the therapist friend who happens to also be a therapist. There's a really fine line between those two. But the therapist friend, we're gonna sit and talk about that. But we have a confession. Next one is, someone said, back in the days when I asked my date when was the last time he was tested for HIV and AIDS, all you would hear is crickets, facts, in the background. If the date went well, I would suggest to get tested together. And that was called being progressive in the 90s. It's still progressive today. It's still, like, people still don't say much about being tested. Many never made it to a second date. All right, come on, hold on to your boundaries. My sexual health comes first. I wish we had access to home testing back then. This option definitely keeps things a little bit more intimate. Stay sexy by staying healthy. Woohoo! Go ahead, girl.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang. I love that she brought up the at-home testing. So that's another thing that Talk Test Street also has, that you can order your at-home testing kits. So if you are uncomfortable with the safe environment of being tested at a center, a clinic, a mobile clinic, whatever, you can actually get tested at home. You can put an order. It's free. Put an order.
What does it test?
So you can get the HIV test and you can get the STD, STI testing.
Oh.
Online. It's a home kit, very similar to a COVID test, but very different as far as like testing. No putting in a nose. You do have to prick yourself, like
anemia. Because I'm
diabetics, anemics and diabetics, so people who have to do their own testing for their blood sugar. Very similar. You put a little dot on the thing and it clarifies. Maybe we'll like show you guys how to do. I have an at-home kit at home. Talk Test Street does give you at-home testing, and you can go online.
And you would get the results then and there, or you
right then and there.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you guys for listening to This Is Not That Podcast.
Not that podcast.
One more time.
Is not that one.
Keep up with us by pressing the subscribe button if you're watching from home on YouTube, and the follow button if you're on Spotify, Google, everywhere that you can find podcasts. And remember that you can leave us a review. So if you like this episode, leave us a review.
Please.
Let us know that you like it. Let us know how you like it.
Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want to see. If you want to see the Spinning the Night Bag episode, I think that would be funny. Because I already have a Spin a Night Bag ready.
On that note, be sure to read our show notes so that you can learn more about our sponsor, our partner for this episode. You can click around, explore what you need to, check out those resources so that you can be as prepared, get treated, get tested, and learn more and take care of your sexual wellness. On that note, toodles! Bye.